down, but look, the thing about Boots is he's staying in there.
Oh, no, we got a knockdown.
Now, when we talking Terence Crawford and Jaron Boots Ennis, now they have a common opponent in David Averizian. Here's the difference that nobody is talking about. It's your boy, Mr. 926, a.k.a. Bushido the Dragon, a.k.a. the Black Mage, a.k.a. I just do this all day, the two-time demonetized champion of the world.
Get the lights up.
Check it out, man. We talked about it live, right? We talked about it live, Jaron Boots Ennis' performance. The fight with David Averizian. David Averizian put up a hell of a performance, right? It wasn't his best performance, but he put up a spirited effort, right? He had a lot of fighting spirit, and he didn't come in there to lay down. Boots Ennis had to work for that. But when we comparing the performances, right? And Boots said going in, he's not looking to really outdo Crawford or anything like that. That's just unnecessary pressure added onto yourself. But boxing fans are going to be comparing the fights, right? But one thing I noticed that, and I spoke about it in my live stream briefly, but one thing I noticed when we comparing the common opponents between the two guys is that Jaron Boots Ennis naturally, right, when we watched that fight, he was naturally the bigger guy. He was much, much, much larger than David Averizian. Much, much bigger. Hit David Averizian with combinations, hit him with counters, hit him with almost everything but the kitchen sink. But when we watched the Crawford fight, the Crawford-David Averizian fight, when we got to that 6th round, Crawford put the lights out on David Averizian, closed the show. Game over. Jaron Boots Ennis, his stoppage was, well, he got a stoppage as well. However, it was more of a corner doctor stoppage. David Averizian was in that fight. He was ready to go. He still had a lot of fighting spirit left. When he fought Terence Crawford eliminated any fighting spirit that he may have had in that fight. Why? Because he put his lights out. Terence Crawford is naturally the smaller man. 135er, right? And now he's campaigning at 54. And he's still been crushing everybody that's been in his path since he left 135. Jaron Boots Ennis, could you say he necessarily crushed David Averizian? I wouldn't say it was a crushing, right? It wasn't a crushing. When Crawford got in there with Averizian, he crushed the guy, bro. Crushed him. Didn't get up. He was flat out on his back, didn't move. But when Boots fought him, well, it took the doctors to say, you know what, this was enough. Now, you got some fans, right? You know boxing fans come up with their things, right? Some fans say that Eddie Hearn paid them doctors a lot of money to go up in there and pull that plug on that fight just to keep the narrative that, oh, well, Boots got him up out of there quicker than Terence Crawford did. But when we look at the fight in totality and we compare the matchups, well, Jaron Boots Ennis had a significant size advantage. And one would imagine he would have got Averizian out of there within 4 rounds. That just didn't happen that way. David Averizian didn't come in there to lay down. So it was up to Boots to go up in there and put his lights out. Just didn't necessarily do it, right? And that's something that comes with skill over time, man. Finishing, this is what I told you guys. Finishing a fight, stopping a guy when he's hurt, that's damn near a whole art within itself. Some guys aren't great finishers. Guys like Terence Crawford is an excellent finisher. Jaron Boots Ennis is a decent finisher. But Jaron Boots Ennis, man, it's something telling me. I never was necessarily one of these guys that was harping on his size, him being a weight bully. But watching the Averizian fight was pretty alarming to me. Like, man, this dude, is he really a weight bully? He really wants to sit at 147 and fight all these smaller dudes. You know what I'm saying? None of the guys at 47 that's a little bit bigger, he don't really seem too interested in. That's just, I'm not saying he ain't gonna fight these dudes. But the Conor Benns, the Stanionis, the Virgil Ortizes, you know, even some guys at 54 like Tim Tszyu or somebody like he don't necessarily look for the smoke for none of them dudes. You know what I'm saying? Next thing we know, he's fighting some guy who's, you know, just kind of coming out of nowhere, short notice, a 140 guy, something like that. You know what I'm saying? And this is what he's kind of dealt with. You know what I'm saying? But when we talk, is he ready for a guy like Crawford? I don't necessarily believe he's quite ready yet. I'm not saying he won't be, but right now I think Boots Ennis got he got time on his side. If anything, he has time on his side. And when we looking at a guy like Crawford, who's a master boxer, bro, he's a master. It was so many openings and holes watching Jaron Ennis fight against David Region that Crawford would exploit it. A lot of the way he fights against a lot of these guys that he's been fighting, he will not be able to have that approach against Crawford. His activity level against Crawford wouldn't be as high. Why? Because he has to worry about getting countered and countered hard. I mean, it's just a whole different dynamic, a whole different fight. Jaron Ennis put on a show, right? He put on a show, but when we grading him at this point to where we don't necessarily know, because going from being here and then going up to fight Crawford, that's a whole different thing. So there's not nobody in between to where we like, okay, yeah, he did this and that. He may be able to deal with what Crawford bring. But right now it's a lot of flash, it's a lot of show. And really it's been pretty much 30-0, 32-0 with a bunch of showcases. So yeah, I still got Crawford beating Jaron Ennis right now. We still got to see how Bud looks against Israel Madarov. We got to see if he lost a step, if he improved. We're going to see. But the ultimate difference is that Terence Crawford was originally a lightweight fighter, and he never, the knockouts never stopped. It actually increased as he moved up, and we're going to see if that continues at his 154-pound debut. Jaron Ennis' performance against David Region was fun. However, when we strictly grading him and comparing him in that performance to Terence Crawford, I still say Terence Crawford outperformed Jaron Ennis. But tell me what you guys think. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.